Welcome back to my channel Celebuzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. Hugh Beaumont really hated his co-star more than anyone else. Hugh Beaumont was born Eugene Hugh Beaumont on February 16, 1909, in a place called Eldora, Kansas. He grew up in a regular middle-class family in the Midwest, where he learned strong, right and wrong values and spiritual beliefs that would help guide him both in his personal life and work throughout his whole life. His early years were shaped by growing up in America's heartland, and when he later moved to California, it opened his eyes to a bigger world that included not just the movie and TV business, but also religious studies. Beaumont went to the University of Chattanooga first, but then he moved to the University of Southern California, where he got a master's degree in theology, which is the study of God and religion. This religious background made him different from many other people in Hollywood. Even while he was trying to become an actor, he never stopped being a minister. He often filled in at churches across Southern California when he wasn't working, on movie sets, and his faith gave him deep inspiration that made many of his acting roles, especially Wally Cleaver, seem real and honest, with a quiet dignity and moral compass that people loved watching for many generations. Hugh started his acting career in the 1940s, appearing in many low-budget movies and movie serials. He was often cast as tough guys or really good, honest characters. He got early attention in film noir movies, which are dark detective movies, most famously as a private detective named Michael Shane in a series of films. His tall body, steady voice, and calm way of acting made him a reliable character actor during this time. He easily moved between B-movies, thrillers, westerns, and early television, building up a diverse list of work that would eventually lead to his most famous. First was in 1957 that Hugh Beaumont became famous across America, when he was chosen to play Wally Cleaver in Leave It to Beaver. The show was about the everyday adventures of the Cleaver family and really connected with American audiences during the conservative years after World War II. As Ward, Beaumont played the perfect 1950s father, firm but fair, bossy but loving. His character gave gentle guidance to his sons Wally and the Beaver and taught moral lessons not with harshness, but with warmth and patience. His chemistry with co-star Barbara Billingsley, who played his TV wife June, helped create one of television's most beloved and perfect families. Though the series wasn't hugely popular at first, reruns made it a classic, with Beaumont's performance becoming the perfect example of ideal fatherhood on screen. Behind the scenes, Beaumont was deeply committed to keeping a professional and respectful atmosphere on set. He took a personal interest in the well-being and education of the child actors, often helping them learn their lines and encouraging them to take their schoolwork seriously. His fatherly presence went beyond the screen and into the lives of those he worked with, earning him respect and admiration in the industry. After Leave It to Beaver ended in 1963, Beaumont continued to work in television and movies, though less often. He appeared in guest roles on popular shows like Petticoat Junction, Mannix, and The Virginian. In addition to acting, he tried writing and directing, using his intelligence and creativity on projects behind the camera. By the late 1960s, he began to step away from Hollywood to focus more on his personal life and spiritual interests. He became a tree farmer in Minnesota, enjoying the peace and simplicity that country life offered, a big contrast to the busy life of Hollywood. Hugh Beaumont's talents went far beyond his on-screen performances. Throughout his career, he showed amazing versatility by establishing himself not only as an actor, but also as a skilled writer. Over the years, Beaumont sold many television screenplays, showing his ability to create engaging stories made for TV during the golden age of television. His writing wasn't limited to TV. He also wrote radio scripts which required sharp dialogue and vivid storytelling to captivate audiences using only sound. Beyond broadcast media, Beaumont's literary reach extended to print, where he contributed short stories to various popular magazines of the time. These writings further cemented his creative legacy, showing his deep understanding of storytelling and character development, skills that no doubt helped his acting career. As the entertainment industry changed and opportunities shifted, Beaumont gradually began to distance himself from acting, seeking a quieter and more grounded lifestyle. He started a new and unexpected venture far removed from Hollywood's spotlight: Christmas tree farming. He bought and cultivated a farm in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, where he dedicated himself to growing and nurturing Christmas trees. This second career not only allowed him to connect with nature, but also offered a peaceful contrast to the demands of show business. The seasonal nature of Christmas tree farming perhaps gave Beaumont a rhythm and routine different from the unpredictability of acting roles, reflecting a desire for stability and simplicity in his later years. Unfortunately, Beaumont's active life was cut short by health challenges when he suffered a serious stroke in 1970. This significant medical event marked a turning point, forcing him to reconsider his professional commitments. After years of balancing multiple creative pursuits and his new farming business, Beaumont officially retired from acting in 1972. His retirement symbolized the end of an era in his multifaceted career, but also a well-earned rest after decades of dedication to the arts and his personal projects. Despite stepping away from the public eye, Beaumont's connection to his most famous role remained strong. In 1980, he made a special appearance during a reunion of Leave It to Beaver cast members, an event organized by a local Los Angeles television station. This reunion was a heartfelt nod to the show's lasting popularity and the beloved place Beaumont held in television history, allowing fans and colleagues alike to celebrate his contributions one more time. On a more personal note, Beaumont's private life was equally significant and shaped much of who he was. On April 13, 1941, he married actress Katherine Adams Doty in a ceremony held at the Hollywood Congregational Church. Their union was one rooted in shared experiences within the entertainment world and lasted over 3 decades, a long time in an industry known for short relationships. Together they raised 3 children, 2 sons, Hunter and Mark, and a daughter, Christy. Their family life, although kept relatively private, was clearly important to Beaumont and provided a foundation beyond his professional work. However, after 33 years of marriage, Hugh Beaumont and Katherine Adams divorced in 1974, marking the end of their long partnership. Beaumont's legacy continued through his children, particularly his eldest son, Hunter Beaumont. Hunter carved out his own path far from the Hollywood spotlight, becoming a psychotherapist and author. His work in mental health and literature was proof of the intellectual and creative environment likely nurtured during his upbringing. Hunter lived abroad for many years in Germany, contributing to the international field of psychotherapy until his passing in 2023. This detail not only highlights the global footprint of the Beaumont family, but also reflects the diverse ways in which Hugh Beaumont's influence extended beyond his immediate career in acting and writing. Though remembered by audiences as the calm, patient and thoughtful father figure Wally Cleaver on the beloved 1950s television series, Leave It to Beaver, Hugh Beaumont harbored personal tensions behind the scenes that strongly contrasted with his on-screen behavior. One of the most surprising and rarely discussed aspects of his time on the show was his deep-seated dislike toward his co-star Tony Dow, who played his fictional son, Wally Cleaver. While the show portrayed a perfect American family complete with tender father-son moments and heartfelt life lessons, the relationship between Beaumont and Dow off-camera was anything but ideal. Hugh Beaumont was a classically trained actor and a deeply principled man who had entered Hollywood almost reluctantly, driven more by necessity than passion. Before achieving television fame, he had been a Methodist minister and had studied theology. He believed in order, respect, and discipline both professionally and personally. He expected his co-stars, regardless of age, to bring the same level of dedication and seriousness to their work as he did. When Tony Dow joined the cast at just 12 years old with no prior acting experience, Beaumont was initially tolerant, but soon grew frustrated with what he saw as Dow's lack of discipline and polish. Dow's frequent mistakes, youthful energy, and behind-the-scenes restlessness annoyed Beaumont, who felt they disrupted the show's flow and hurt the professionalism he tried to maintain. As the series went on, Beaumont's frustrations reportedly deepened. He considered Tony Dow to be the weak link in a cast otherwise committed to preserving the wholesome, heartfelt tone that made Leave It to Beaver a hit. Despite Dow's growing popularity with audiences and his natural chemistry with Jerry Mathers, Beaver, Beaumont allegedly viewed him as an undisciplined and at times arrogant young actor who didn't show proper respect to the older cast or the crew. Some insiders have even suggested that Beaumont lobbied privately to have Dow replaced, though this never happened. Tensions also arose from the generational and personality differences between the two. Beaumont was a traditionalist with rigid ideas about family conduct and television's moral obligations. Dow, on the other hand, was a child of the late 1950s and early 1960s, a time of changing norms, youthful rebellion, and a loosening of authority structures. While Dow was by no means disrespectful, his casual attitude and inexperience were often interpreted by Beaumont as laziness or a lack of commitment. These differences widened the emotional and philosophical gap between them. Beaumont took his role as a father figure seriously, even off-set, and when Dow didn't measure up to his personal standards, the resentment only grew. Moreover, there were reports that Dow, as he got older and gained more confidence, occasionally challenged directions or made suggestions about his character. While this may have been interpreted by others as a sign of maturity or initiative, Beaumont saw it as overstepping boundaries. The fact that a teenager would assert himself in such a way in the presence of a seasoned actor was intolerable to Beaumont, who saw these moments as symbolic of a broader societal decline in respect for elders and authority. To the public, their relationship seemed harmonious, a testament to both actors' professionalism. But privately, it was strained. While Beaumont maintained a respectful front and never allowed personal feelings to interfere obviously with his performance, those close to the production have recalled his visible agitation during rehearsals and occasional terse interactions with Dow. Some even speculated that Beaumont's dissatisfaction with Leave It to Beaver, as a whole, a show he sometimes felt limited his artistic range, was made worse by his inability to connect with Dow. By the end of the show's 6-season run, Hugh Beaumont was reportedly relieved to put the role and his difficult relationship with Tony Dow behind him. While he remained courteous in public when discussing his time on Leave It to Beaver, he rarely spoke of Dow in interviews, and when he did, it was with noticeably less warmth than when discussing other cast members. It seemed clear to those who knew him best that of all his professional relationships, the one he found most trying, and perhaps even resented the most, was with Tony Dow. In later years, Dow and other cast members, including Jerry Mathers, often spoke fondly of their experiences on the show. Dow himself seemed unaware or unfazed by Beaumont's animosity, or perhaps he chose to rise above it. Nevertheless, for Beaumont, who otherwise embodied the epitome of composed fatherhood, the presence of Tony Dow stirred a deep, lasting frustration, one that contradicted the perfect picture of family unity the world saw every week on their television screens. On May 14, 1982, Hugh Beaumont passed away at the age of 72 from a heart attack while visiting his son Hunter in Munich, West Germany. His death marked the end of a multifaceted life that extended far beyond his widely recognized role as Wally Cleaver on the beloved television series Leave It to Beaver. Beaumont's passing was not only a loss to the world of entertainment, but also to those who knew him in the various other capacities in which he served throughout his life. Hugh Beaumont was not merely a television actor, he was also a man of deep faith and conviction, a licensed Methodist minister. Beaumont had studied theology and maintained his religious credentials even as his acting career blossomed. Though he did not serve as a full-time pastor, he remained actively involved in religious life and was known to officiate weddings, deliver eulogies, and lead funeral services for family, friends, and members of his community. His gentle demeanor, moral compass, and commanding presence made him particularly well-suited for these roles, and many who attended these ceremonies remarked on the sincerity and emotional depth he brought to them. Beaumont viewed these acts not as performances, but as opportunities to provide comfort, guidance, and spiritual leadership, further demonstrating the compassionate nature that so many associated with his character on screen. In addition to his religious pursuits, Beaumont was a man of many talents, including music. Before he found fame on television, he was an accomplished jazz drummer, a passion he continued to indulge throughout his life. He frequently played with small local jazz ensembles and enjoyed collaborating with musicians in impromptu jam sessions. Beaumont had a deep appreciation for rhythm and melody, and his drumming was known to be both technically skilled and emotionally expressive. Whether performing in intimate club settings or simply drumming with friends for fun, Beaumont found in music a creative outlet that brought him great joy. His musical talent added another layer to his complex personality, revealing a side of him that few fans of his acting work ever saw. Away from the cameras and studio lights, Hugh Beaumont found solace in nature. An enthusiastic outdoorsman, he spent much of his free time exploring the natural world. Fishing was one of his favorite pastimes, and he would often embark on extended trips to remote lakes and rivers, sometimes with friends, other times alone with his thoughts. He was equally fond of camping and hiking, relishing the peace and simplicity that came with being surrounded by forests, mountains, or streams. These retreats into the wilderness allowed him to disconnect from the pressures of Hollywood and reconnect with the quieter, more contemplative parts of himself. Friends and family often spoke of Beaumont's deep respect for the environment and his belief that time spent in nature was vital for the soul. Despite his serious image as the quintessential 1950s television father, Beaumont was well known among his colleagues for his dry and often razor-sharp sense of humor. On the set of Leave It to Beaver, he frequently amused his co-stars with clever anecdotes, playful teasing, and a steady stream of puns and jokes. Cast members, including Jerry Mathers and Tony Dow, later recalled how Beaumont would keep the mood light during long days of filming, often using his wit to diffuse tension or simply brighten someone's day. His humor was subtle and intelligent, the kind that lingered in the air and made people chuckle long after the punchline had landed. It was an essential part of who he was, a quality that helped bond the cast and create the familial chemistry that audiences so warmly responded to on screen. Hugh Beaumont's life was rich with diversity, depth, and humanity. Whether ministering to a grieving family, drumming in a smoky jazz club, hiking a mountain trail, or sharing a laugh on a TV set, he brought sincerity, kindness, and intelligence to everything he did. His legacy endures not only through the reruns of Leave It to Beaver, but in the lives he touched and the example he set as a man of principle, talent, and heart.